Hey there, I am showing how I put together this jumping worm proof leaf mold bin, okay? And it's practically done at this point. Let me start out how I started with this thing. I dug a trench. The perimeter of the bin itself, it's 5 by 5 basically, and I dug down 14 inches. This here is 2 feet of treated plywood, half-inch marine plywood. I couldn't even find it, but so what I did, I put house wrap up underneath it and then went over it with more house wrap to shed the water off, and that should probably work quite well to preserve that wood underneath here. That's stuck in here a foot below this. This is a 2 foot piece, a 2 foot piece, and there's a foot of plywood underneath the ground. And as I made this, after I got it planted and put all the dirt back, which is mostly clay, I lined it with, I bought some heavy-duty landscape fabric. And I cut it in 2 foot sections, and I put 2 feet this way, 2 feet that way, and then I ran the full width 4 foot from this side, 4 foot from this side, and sealed all the seams with caulk and also construction adhesive. Get a nice solid, so nothing could get through it. And I did all that. Then the next day I came out and I found redworms in here. At first I was very upset. But then I realized that that's a good thing, because those redworms got through that fabric. And I looked at that fabric I purchased. It's a woven fabric, and you could see light through it. And if you could see light through something, then the worms are going to get through it. I mean, as far as gaps. So what I did after that was I lined it with an extruded landscaping fabric. It's still heavy duty, but it's a fiber and a resin. Still lets water through. And I did the same thing all over again. And actually it worked out well, because that heavy duty fabric I initially put down, gave it a little base, and then I put the extruded fabric on top of it. One of the things I didn't plan for actually was a door. So this is kind of crappy, but it'll work. Just get this out of the way. Don't fall over. Yeah, that'll work. To protect the landscape fabric, I built this decking on here. Nothing special, it's just fence pickets and some 1x3s. I just want to show you here what I did. I put that landscape fabric, I made 2 feet out this way, 2 feet out this way, then I went 4 foot this way, came out this way. But then I used a joist tape to seal the seams, and I was seeing there were some gaps between the fabric and the seams. So I covered all of that with silicone caulk to create a perfect seal. So nothing can get through those seams at all. Certainly not a worm. Hopefully. The reason I built this deck is when I go to harvest the leaf mold, I don't want to violate this landscaping. I don't want to tear it, rip it, whatever. I don't want to bother this landscaping fabric. So I built this deck. And now I'm thinking, I got a 1.5-inch gap below this deck. I have some extra of that woven fabric. I think I just might come down and just cover this, create just an airspace between the soil and the leaf mold. It can't hurt. I don't really think it's necessary. It's not going to really keep any worms out. But it's just going to give this a little extra aeration. And I think, well, worms, they have to be able to sense food. And if I have leaves right on the ground here, the worms are going to find that, potentially. And the reason I buried this down a foot, I saw a couple sources online that you go down 6 inches to prevent influx from the outside. But as I was digging this out, I kept finding jumping worms lower and lower to about 10 inches. And then I went down farther than that just to be safe. But I do not think there's any way a worm can come up from underneath. I'll find out in the fall when I harvest my leaf mold. And this wire has been around for many years, and it had a lot of purposes, and I probably should have bought more wire, but this is just to keep the leaves in place. They're not to prevent the worms from getting in here. We'll see how it works. Like I say, I don't know until next fall when I go to harvest my leaf mold. Now all I gotta do is fill it with shredded leaves. Well, that's the easy part, right? So yeah, this is my attempt of making a leaf mold bin that is jumping worm proof, and I won't know until next fall. And also what I'll do is make sure I don't have anything growing up along here on the perimeter of this bin. I'll I don't know, just keep it weed whacked or put some rock down with some fabric under it. We'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely keep this clear and probably figure out a better door than this, but for now this will work. I mean, it's already the 8th of November. We've been blessed with some nice weather. 3 years ago we had 7 inches of snow already, so. But yeah, this is basically my approach to having a leaf mold bin that the jumping worms cannot enter into. I mean, last year I had a bin, it was maybe not this large, or the same size actually. And I maybe found a dozen jumping worms in that, but that was a dozen worms too many. But I don't want to go through that again. So this is basically my approach to addressing these jumping worms in my leaf mold, because I use it for seed starter, I use it for potting mix, I give away a lot of plants, I sell some plants. I certainly don't want to spread these guys. The leaf mold, last year I ran through hot compost and I cooked some on my pellet grill. I don't want to do that again. Too much work. And I still have 2 garbage cans over here full of leaf mold that I'll just solarize it next year with just lay it on a tarp and cover it with another clear tarp and cook it when the weather's warmer. I already tried that once and it never got hot enough. The cocoons perish after 104 degrees for 3 days, so you need that kind of heat. But anyhow, this is my attempt of making a leaf mold pile that the jumping worms cannot gain access to. And I'll let you know next fall if it worked. Hopefully. Thank you for viewing. Have a good night.